The moment I stepped onto the observation deck of the Aurelia, the stars weren't just stars, they were shards of glass, jagged and impossibly bright, stretching into a void that seemed to mock the fragility of human life. And there she was. The alien woman, standing alone by the viewport, her form luminous against the void, like someone had caught the northern lights in the shape of a living being. I didn't plan on speaking. I shouldn't have. But the words came anyway. You look beautiful today. Her head turned sharply, the motion too fluid, too deliberate for any human. Her eyes, glimmering pools of molten silver, locked onto mine, and for a moment, I thought I saw recognition. Or maybe it was pity. Then she smiled. And the smile wasn't warm. It was a slash of something dangerous, something forbidden. Do humans still speak in platitudes when they know the cosmos can erase them in a heartbeat? She asked. Her voice wasn't just heard, it resonated inside my skull, a vibration that made my chest ache. I swallowed. My mouth was dry. I meant it. She tilted her head. Do you know what I see when I look at humans? She whispered. Her gaze drifted past me to the swirling galaxies outside the viewport. Fragile. Clumsy. Predictable. Yet, sometimes, beautiful in ways you cannot measure. But that was only the beginning. Weeks earlier, Earth had been a memory. A dying planet, consumed by storms that seemed almost sentient, by wars that no peace treaty could resolve. The United Nations had built Aurelia, a massive orbital station meant to serve as a bridge between humanity and any intelligence willing to negotiate survival. I had been a linguist, a translator of alien languages, trained to detect deception and nuance. But nothing in my career had prepared me for her. She was introduced simply as the envoy, sent by an alien coalition so advanced that even their ships bent light around them, making them invisible until moments before arrival. Her mission was unclear. Some claimed she came to observe humanity. Others whispered darker possibilities, judgment, assimilation, or worse. I thought I was ready for diplomacy. I was not ready for fascination. The first week aboard Aurelia was a silent war. Every glance, every unintentional brush of her hand against a console, set my nerves on fire. I memorized her routines, the way she lingered at the viewport, the precise moments she spoke, the soft hum of the technology she carried like an extension of herself. And then came the first anomaly. One evening, as the station drifted past a dying star, she vanished from her usual spot. Sensors confirmed she hadn't left the observation deck, yet her figure appeared, and then didn't, on every camera. It was as though the station itself obeyed her will, rearranging reality to keep her presence uncertain. What is happening? I muttered to the nearest crew member, a fellow linguist named Reyes. They're not human, he said flatly. She, or whatever, she bends things humans think are laws. But that was only the beginning. I learned quickly that words mattered. One careless sentence could evoke a reaction I could never predict. One evening, driven by a reckless impulse, I said it, "You look beautiful today." The silence that followed wasn't normal. Not the polite silence of a conversation paused. It was thick, heavy, as if the air itself had become liquid, pressing down on my chest. Then she laughed. A sound like breaking crystal. "You humans cling to beauty as if it shields you from reality," she said. "Do you truly believe flattery can protect you from what comes next?" "What's coming?" I asked, heart hammering. Her eyes softened. Or so it seemed. "The truth," she said simply. "A truth most of your kind cannot endure." What I saw next changed everything. The following day, she led me to the heart of the station, a place off limits to all but the highest-ranking officers. The room pulsed with alien light, screens orbiting it like moons, displaying data I could barely comprehend. A sphere hovered at the center, translucent, alive with a shifting internal lattice of energy. "This," she said, "is the culmination of what humans have yet to understand." I stared, trying to process. The sphere wasn't just technology, it was alive. It breathed. It reacted to our presence. And when I reached out, I could feel it, almost like it was measuring my soul. Humans have one chance, she continued, her silver eyes piercing mine. One chance to prove that you are worthy of continuation, of integration with the greater civilizations. And if we fail? I asked, though a part of me already knew the answer. She didn't flinch. Then your species remains a cautionary tale. Extinct before it could even comprehend its place in the cosmos. The room went silent. The weight of her words pressed on my chest. I felt the fragility of humanity like never before. For days, I worked alongside her, trying to understand. She didn't speak as humans do. Her thoughts were communicated through resonance, through subtle manipulations of the sphere's energy. And gradually, I realized something terrifying: she wasn't just observing. She was testing. Every question she asked wasn't about knowledge. It was about judgment. Every look she gave wasn't curiosity. It was assessment. One night, as I traced my fingers along the sphere's surface, I heard her voice in my head, not words, but emotion. A pulse of longing, of sadness, of something human. "You're different," she said. "I am?" I asked aloud, though my voice sounded small, fragile. "You care," she whispered, though the sound carried across the room like a song. "You care, and yet you are terrified. That is rare among your kind." But that was only the beginning. Midway through the trial, the station shuddered. Alarms screamed. Sensors showed multiple breaches, creatures emerging from warp rifts, their forms fluid, constantly reshaping. They were predators, sentient, hunting. And they were here because the envoy had triggered something. She moved with impossible speed, lifting barriers, manipulating the sphere. I tried to follow, but every step felt like wading through molasses. My thoughts were racing: we could die. This station, the last hope of humanity, could be destroyed in minutes. And then, in the chaos, she looked at me. Her eyes, molten silver, were steady. "Survive this," she said simply. "Prove your worth." We fought through the corridors, dodging energy lances and creatures that seemed born of nightmares. Every moment was survival, every breath a gamble. And yet, in that chaos, I realized I was no longer afraid of her judgment. I was afraid for us. For her. What I saw next changed everything. In the heart of the chaos, she stopped. Raised her hands. The sphere expanded, engulfing the station in a cocoon of light. The predators screamed and vanished, torn apart by forces beyond human comprehension. And in that light, she finally spoke to me directly, words audible and clear. "You could have died. And yet, you did not flee. You cared for what could not be controlled. That is beauty." I blinked. I don't understand." She smiled, truly smiled this time. Not a slash of danger, not pity, but a quiet acknowledgement. Humanity is fragile. But there is courage here. And that is rare. I wanted to speak, to ask what came next, but she faded. Not disappeared, but condensed, drawn into the sphere. And when it left, the station was silent. Safe. Empty of the impossible horrors that had moments before threatened everything. Days later, I stood once more on the observation deck. The stars were still shards of glass, still impossibly bright. But I felt different. Seen. Measured. Judged. And perhaps, understood. The sphere remained in the center of the station, dormant, yet alive. And sometimes, in the quiet hum of the Aurelia, I could feel a presence, watching, resonating, alive. I whispered to the void, almost without thinking, "You look beautiful today." And for the first time, I imagined she might have heard. Because in the depths of the cosmos, I had learned that beauty is not just human. It is courage. It is survival. It is the quiet defiance against a universe that does not care. And in that defiance, we were not alone. The stars shimmered. And I understood that the universe had just smiled back. Word count, 1742. If you want, I can create a slightly more cinematic version with extra microhooks every 2 to 3 paragraphs, ensuring it's optimized for maximum YouTube audience retention, with cliffhangers at the right points. It would read like a voiceover script ready for narration. Do you want me to do that next?